This week we're going to do some work with nonfiction text, and we will be learning the difference between fiction and nonfiction text. There are certain text features that nonfiction has that fiction just doesn't have. And so when we did the picture of the book that asked you whether it was fiction or nonfiction in the first activity, that picture happened to be fiction, and we're going to explore why. So here's the picture that I had for the first activity. Now, the picture shows something that is real. The National Museum of the American Indian is a real place. It's in Washington, D.C., and this book happens to be called Capitol Clues. What makes it fiction, however, is that the story happens to be about people. And so you can see in the picture that there are people there, and nonfiction is not usually about people unless it's telling somebody's life story. This isn't telling somebody's life story. This is just telling about some kids who go to visit Washington, D.C. And if you notice, the text is in a play format. So it's like reading a play. It has people's names and then what they say. So if you go through the book, you'll notice that while the things that they're visiting are real, the story itself is fiction. It's not a real story. Now this is another story that talks about the same things. It's talking about Washington, D.C., and it's called Celebrating the United States. This book happens to be nonfiction. It is a book about real things. It is not a story. It's a book that tells you facts. And so I'm going to read just a couple of pages, and then I'll be highlighting some of the things that make this a nonfiction text. Titled The Capitol Building. And so if you remember from the fictional story, that one also talked about the Capitol. So I'm just going to read. Built on the top of a hill on the National Mall, the U.S. Capitol building overlooks the city of Washington, D.C. The building is where the nation's laws are made. The Capitol also houses an important collection of art. People around the world know its striking white dome as a symbol of the U.S. government. Congress holds meetings of the two legislative houses of government in the Capitol building. The two houses are the Senate and the House of Representatives. Leaders discuss, debate, and make new laws. And then down here is a picture that says Opening Day of Congress inside the Capitol building. And then up here, thousands of people visit the Capitol every year. Over to the other side, this one is titled The White House. Also on the National Mall, the White House is a symbol of the U.S. government. The White House has been home to every president since John Adams in 1800. The building also has offices. The president's office is called the Oval Office. This is where the president holds important meetings and small ceremonies. The president's staff, the president's husband or wife, and the vice president also have offices in the White House. Its large rooms are used to entertain important leaders from around the world. And here we have a little caption up here that says White House. And then down here there's a picture, and it says people can visit some parts of the White House. About 1.5 million people visit each year. So some of the things on this page that make this nonfiction that we don't find usually in fictional stories is titles. So these titles are in red. They're also called headings. Another thing that it has is it has real photographs. So there are real photographs. Nonfiction text also has captions below the photographs or in the photographs. So here this one says, thousands of people visit the Capitol each year. Another thing that it has is there are a couple of words here that are highlighted or bold print, legislative on this side and staff on this side. Those are usually words that are important that you can usually find at the end of the story, at the end of the nonfiction book that has a glossary, and that tells the meaning of those special words. So again, nonfiction text has certain features like pictures or photographs, headings, captions, and bolded words or special print. Those are 4 different text features that you can find in nonfiction text. Today, for the chew and review, what you're going to do is you are going to be looking on any of the sites where you can pick a book, and you're going to find a nonfiction book, and you're going to do the activity with your nonfiction book and tell us why that nonfiction book is nonfiction. How do you know?